Yes, welcome back to Fresh Outlook. I'm TWB. As we've been looking back at the headlines that dominated 2012, we thought we'd take a look at some of the words that seem to dominate our conversations. What were some of the top words that Americans loved and hated last year? Let's discuss. Actually, the American Dialect Society tallied up their votes for the 23rd annual time. Their word of the year is hashtag. Nice. Believe it or not. Also, the American word of the year, there you go, is graphics, GIF, or is it GIF?
It's GIF.
Is it GIF?
It is GIF.
Okay. All right, there you go. To create a graphic file posted online. By the American Dialect Society, I think they made a good choice. Hashtag, I mean, that pretty much sums up where we're at in terms of a social media dominated society.
Yeah, it's interesting, and both of these terms are pretty interesting. You know, the GIF piece is important because a lot of the memes that circulate with these,
meme, good word.
Yeah, people. I'm surprised memes not in that top 2 or 3 there, but a lot of the memes that circulate are actually GIFs, which are these sort of mobile, small, little video, funny things. There've been some really
My favorite one is the Hillary Clinton texting.
Yes,
That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
It is. It's hilarious. You know, there's a picture of her with her BlackBerry sitting there, and then there'll be these little pop-up videos, little bubbles of, she's, really saying, yeah, I'm feeding the cat, or I don't know, when you think she's talking about like a rock or something. You know, it's kind of, I'm not doing its justice. You probably can.
No, but it's just interesting. If you didn't see that, it's sort of, she was on a military plane, and she just took out her Jackie O sunglasses, and she's looking at her BlackBerry, and it became this whole dialogue on who she's actually texting. Like Joe Biden's texting her, and she's like, no, I don't think so. She's kind of like icing people, but I think the greater point there is the sort of, a couple years ago when she was trying to win the primary against Obama, people were talking about her pantsuits, and you would never equate her with social media and a cool chick, and now she's completely done a 180, and she's owning it. She's into Twitter, and she's into social, and her BlackBerry, and and her look, and she sort of has it down. So that was something that definitely spread in terms of a viral capacity.
I don't know, something behemoth inside me rolls over and goes to sleep on this particular topic.
Right, I noticed your eyes were closed for about 40 seconds.
In terms of, actually, I thought about Groucho Marx's program, where actually with a duck came down and you get $50 if you say a particular word. But we're gravitating towards these words, but like, where's the value in all of this? I mean, are we learning something? Are we creating value in our lives by kind of hooking on to certain words?
Do
and
you have a favorite word?
Hashtag, for example, somebody who's a little older asked me the other day, well, what does it mean? What is a hashtag? How do you do this? When do you use it? They didn't know. I went through the whole process of explaining the pound sign that you would find on your phone is a hashtag, and you use it to, as we do here with the Fresh Outlook at Ebru TV when you're tweeting us, which we hope you're doing right now.
Hashtag Fresh Outlook.
Hashtag Fresh Outlook, and you can zone in on a particular thing. It could be election 2012. It could be laughing Joe Biden. It could be the gang rape in India. It could be anything.
Word of the year.
And exactly.
The reason why both of these things are important is because they transform how we communicate. So GIFs can sort of circulate as very short, funny video images as memes or different kind of thematic videos. And what hashtag does is it actually has changed how we communicate. So a lot of this comes from Twitter, right? And Twitter forces you to communicate in very short, effective bursts. The hashtag helps you to be able to do that because it places emphasis.
James, I agree. It transforms the way you communicate, but I'm interested in what transforms society.
Well,
and I'm not so sure that it's a volume of expression.
But we saw the Arab Spring, for example, be a Twitter. It was a hashtag Arab Spring that it in Tunisia, in Egypt, in all of these.
No longer acceptably known as Arab Spring, by the way. That's out.
Let's just go over a couple. Merriam-Webster dictionary. Their word of the year is actually a joint word too, for the first time: capitalism and socialism.
Wow.
Surprises there? I mean, are you surprised by those? I thought those a little boring, no offense.
Well, I'm surprised that they would buy into the way in which socialism has been used in the political season. It's been completely misused and misunderstood.
Okay, what about YOLO? Do you guys know what YOLO means?
I used to. What does it mean?
You only live once.
Yahoo or Rolo.
Some of the most YOLO. If you see that on a text message or on a tweet, it means you only live once.
What does that mean? Like caution to the wind? Is that what that means?
Well, just you only live once. You can use it as you. What about Gangnam Style?
Oh man, that is so.
Over 1 billion views.
What about 47%?
Yeah.
Some other words of the year. Frankenstorm. That was one of the most unnecessary, according.
Was that used to describe Sandy?
At the time, it made sense, but like, let it go.
Yeah.
What else? That's it.
What else? Let's see. Cray cray.
I'm a big fan of Cray Cray.
That's under least likely to succeed.
For Kanye West to be responsible for getting one, well, it's really
the
Kanye
Kardashians,
West.
excuse
It's
me.
really Kanye West who put Cray out there in the public sphere. For one artist to be able to get one word to trend that way is pretty powerful.
Don't forget about Eastwooding, which is sorry. Before we go to the package, my favorite of all time of the year was malarkey.
Oh yeah,
Joe Biden. That's a bunch of malarkey. It's my favorite word of the year.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
An oldie but a goodie. With that, let's move on to our next piece about sort of this surge of social media, how it seems to be dominating our culture, and you just can't let it go. You can't. It's everywhere, right? You can't turn your back. Take a look.
You may have seen this. A hoax about privacy on Facebook has actually gone viral on the social networking site. The hoax surfaced after a recent email from Facebook updating its privacy policy. In response, a lot of users are posting and sharing a statement that they think will protect their postings under copyright laws.
An offshoot of Occupy Wall Street, Rolling Jubilee has launched a campaign aimed at erasing debt. It has been billed a bailout for the 99%.
South Korean rapper Psy's music video, Gangnam Style, became the first video on YouTube to get 1 billion views.
But while many are searching for the best deals, others are making a statement. The holidays, they say, are supposed to be about, well, giving. Today, a new crop of activists are attempting to put a dent in the country's consumer craze culture. This week, as a counter to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, a brand new Giving Tuesday was announced.
Meet the Cash Mob, America's newest addition to the social media revolution. Like the Flash Mob, participants decide on a certain time, date, and location to meet. Then bring the same amount of cash, usually $20. Within a small time frame, they rush to buy products within that budget, hoping to boost sales and publicity for ailing owners.
Number one, it brings attention to the location, the fact that you have a store like this.
Well, the power of social media is certainly undeniable, especially when you look at the difference between the 2008 election and the 2012 election. Just in terms of Twitter, instant fact-checking. As soon as something leaves a candidate's mouth, it's boom, it's everywhere. Hello, binders full of women. It's amazing how the conversation completely changed with this onslaught of Facebook and Twitter because there's this immediacy.
So it keeps people honest, you might say.
Yes.
Potentially doing that.
Hide really well.
Or I mean, it really is a promotional tool, right? So you can sit there and you can, as we were live tweeting, I know James was and I was during the election night, for example. There's, or during the debates, I should say, because during election night we were both on set working exactly, but separately at different places. But you can follow exactly what's being said. The binders full of women, the horses and bayonets. You can go back and then you can check whatever it is, and you can find out through the hashtag. I know, the horses and bayonets. I love that one. That was another good one. But
and malarkey.
And malarkey. It enables people to commune quickly. And a lot of the things that people don't find out about until the next day's news, you already know because you can just go through your.
There is a little bit of a darker side to this as well. Like when the president came out to speak, I think it was a Monday Night Football, to talk about the fiscal cliff. There's a lot of sort of racialized hatred on Twitter in response to him interrupting football. And there's a study out of Harvard that's been looking at racial animus online. And what you're finding is that one of the sort of dark sides of social media is that young people and all kinds of people can kind of hide behind Twitter or hide behind Facebook identities and become much more racialized, become much more sexist. And we're seeing a lot more. We're seeing that trend as well.
It's a trend called hate watching, which is something we wanted to discuss. Hate watching, hate listening, and it's basically exactly what you said, hiding behind these websites, looking at people sort of fall on their face, the negativity, the spreading of it.
You'll look, for example, at the recent rape case in Steubenville, Ohio that came to light. For example, they had a lot of people piece that case together based on posts that were on Facebook, videos, comments that were made, and get the people that were involved through that. So in a way, even though they were being ridiculous and being haters, and that actual footprint, digital footprint, helped find those people. We've got to
see if that evidence will stick in this particular case because there's very little other evidence to make it all happen. But yes, it's the same principle that people were sort of televising their hatred for this particular girl in this particular case via social media.
And we've also seen that suicide among young people is the third leading cause of death, and a lot of it is because the online bullying has gone too far. And so we've seen time and time again, young people, we've seen Tyler Clementi here in New Jersey, we've seen other people elsewhere, you know, all across the globe continuing to do this.
Yeah, but on the other hand, don't forget,
has gone
but
crazy.
there's also a copycat quality to terrible crimes as well, and I think the fact that these things are promulgated online so rapidly and so widely actually makes them fodder for people to imitate these things.
The larger issue here is just the positives and the negatives of the digital
That's right.
It just is.
Imprint, because you look at all the positives in terms of fact checking, in terms of Sandy, charitable places online, Giving Tuesday, but then look at the negatives. Look at all the fake websites and the scammers related to Frankenstorm.
And the hatred.
And the hatred, the hate watching.
Well, we saw, for example, in the Temple shooting, that the shooter was actually somebody who listened to neo-Nazi music. There's a whole subgenre, just like there is, you know, heavy rock or country or whatever it is, you know. And so that is never going to go away. We are always going to have literally people that hate. What social media does is it amplifies the megaphone and the speakers that is already there to exist, and it allows it to trickle into these other people's lives. Young people, for example, if your parents are working more, you're spending more time on the computer, that becomes your world, your connection, your chat rooms, your groups, your Facebook pages. All of that is amplified to you. You don't have enough extra, you know, connection with the real world and with people to balance out whatever it is. It feels as though the whole world, which is your online world, could be turning against you, and you may go down a dark path.
Of course. Ironically, the shooter in Connecticut did not have a Facebook or Twitter account. So he had no connection online.
That is a good point, but I think that's more of an anomaly. I think he was just sort of a loner and was focusing on his guns instead of his social media imprint. But again, I mean, it does make you question. You look at the advent of everything online and how we've evolved and sort of this immediacy information culture.
Are we better for it?
That is my question. Are we better for it?
Are we better for it?
I think the pros outweigh the cons, but I mean, bullying and suicide, I mean, these numbers are becoming astronomical, and that's because of hate watching and hate sites and being able to pick on people immediately. Whereas before this whole online society, this online world,
there's always been explosions.
How do we explain ourselves? We had to speak.
Taryn, there's always been explosions in the media where it actually becomes bigger than life, and people have to find ways of coping with it, dealing with it, using it for good, and not really being at the effect of it's being used for bad.
I don't think we should talk about whether or not it's good or bad, because the jury's going to be out on that for a long time. But what we do need to talk about is how can we begin to educate young people, especially to help them develop critical media literacy. They have to become more literate on these platforms and what the impact of them are.
And what does that mean exactly?
Good luck.
It means that actually it has to be part of our educational system.
So there should be a course like English or history.
There have to be courses to talk about what happens online, what are the dangers, what are the pitfalls, you know, how can you, how persuasive it is, are there parameters?
It's a language.
It is a language.
Taught like a language, if you ask me. Spanish, French,
it's about
social
literacy
media.
more so than figuring out if it's good or bad.
With that, we're going to go to break. All right? How's that for language? When we come back, we're actually going to change gears and take a look back at those we lost in 2012 and who we'll miss dearly. Stay with us.